So the draft is still 4 and a bit months away, but it's never too early to have a look at which players your club could select at the national draft at season's end. We've just seen the national championships conclude. Several draft gurus have started releasing their draft rankings, so I think it's time for a full Phantom Draft with trades. Let's get into it. So I don't want to waste anyone's time. This video is going to be pretty long and comprehensive, so you can see here I've completed an Excel spreadsheet of just about most points that I wanted to cover with this draft. So we've got compensation here, we've got a few free agents leaving. This is not going to cover every single detail of the trade free agency period. I obviously am not a genius. I can't predict what every single club is going to do in the trade and free agency period, but with the ones that have been most talked about and rumored, I thought I'd put that in just to make this draft seem a bit more realistic. I've also completed some trades, so you can see we've traded Keane from the Crows to the Pies, we've traded Devon Robertson to the Eagles, we've done some pick swaps between the Dockers and Fremantle. Seems unrealistic, had to be done to get the best outcome for both teams. Got some movement for the Suns and Richmond, so Daniel Rioli moving to the Suns, Bailey Smith moving to the Hawks, Melbourne pick swapping to I think split their first round pick. We've got Ben Patton moving from the Saints, we've got Liam Baker moving to the Eagles, and I think that's basically all the trades that we've covered. So Eagles very active, Tigers very active, as you'd expect as two rebuilding sides. The compensation, so Josh Battle has been rumoured a lot to get band 1. I know a lot of you guys probably won't agree with that, but it is what it is. I'm just going off the reports. Harry Perryman, it looks like an end of first round, so I think he's being offered like 800k a year or like 750, so that's around end of first round. Ben Ainsworth just did his ACL at the time of recording, so I feel like that increases the probability of him leaving, and if he does leave, I think it might be on maybe 650k per year, 700k, so that would probably be a second round pick. Jack Graham, I'm a bit skeptical about this move. I'm not sure if Graham will actually leave the Tigers, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did, and it does make sense, so I've put that one in as well, and I think he'll leave for around 550, 600k, that would be end of second round. And then a third round pick for Elliot Himmelberg, who tried to get to the Giants last year and wasn't able to, but I think maybe the Crows will be a bit more lenient this time round. So, and I don't think he'll be on much money. I think maybe just average or below average AFL wage, so that would be a third round pick to the Crows. And a couple of notes up here. So this is based on the post round 18 AFL ladder. Obviously the ladder will change every round, so if you're watching this like a week later, some of the picks will be a bit more inaccurate, but the purpose of this draft is not to see exactly who your club's picking, but rather who could be around your club's picks and each player's range. So if you think your club is going to have a certain hand of picks, just use my draft as kind of a guide as to who could be around your club's picks. Yeah, some of the bidding for the academy and father's son kids is just too confusing. A lot of logistics are going to have to go into it, like lots of trading, and I feel like that's just going to complicate things too much. So you might see in the draft there's going to be a lot of direct bids, as I've named it, so just clubs picking their academy kids. I think that's just the best way to try and estimate the cost of each pick. So whichever pick they use on their player, it would just be the equivalent to the picks that they give up, which we obviously know that isn't the case, but I didn't want to go through and do like 100 trades to try and get to an optimal point. I fixed this, so that's not true anymore. And Gold Coast have not been screwed over. I fixed that one as well. So that's about it for all the trade and free agency. And then yeah, so just keep in mind that it's not exactly what your club will do, but just look out for players around your club's picks ranges. So this is the draft. So we'll start, I think we'll zoom in a little bit. Start at the top. So Finn O'Sullivan going at number 1. So yeah, this obviously, I'm sure if you follow the draft, you'll see that the top end is very even, and it's pretty hard to predict where each player will go. And number 1 could literally be anyone. I think it's very club dependent who finishes last on the ladder. And yeah, if Richmond finish last on the ladder, I think at the moment they'll be picking O'Sullivan. I've written a note here that he might slide because of his underwhelming season so far, but he is returning from injury, so I'm expecting him to rebound and finish the season strong and show some of the form he's shown over the past couple of years. He's got a really nice body of work, so I think just over the past few weeks, if you judge him on that, that's a bit too biased to the recent times. So I'm still sticking with O'Sullivan at 1. Trainer at 2 might be a bit of a reach for North Melbourne, but I do think it solves one of their needs. Brisbane get Ashcroft at 3, so I've got Gold Coast bidding on them. So yeah, so originally West Coast have this pick 3. I've got them trading that to the Dockers. So basically the Eagles trade their first and second round pick and their future third to get Frio's first round pick, Collingwood's first round pick, St Kilda second, St Kilda fourth. So basically to take advantage of how even the draft is, while Fremantle climb up. Fremantle eventually at one point had pick 3, then they split it with Gold Coast to get Gold Coast pick 8 and 9 at the time of speaking. That's what it is. And yeah, so we see as a result Gold Coast go to the top, so they get rid of their picks in here. You can see they had these 2. They go to the top to avoid the Lombard dilution of picks. Fremantle, I guess you can say, improved their hand. Not really, they already had 3 first rounders, but they've got 3 in a row here, and then they've got a second round down there. And the Eagles, well, they kind of got shafted here, gone from pick 3 and 23 to 17 and 36, but they have got the points to match Malachi Champion now. So yeah, Gold Coast at 4 pick Josh Smiley, so might be a bit of a weird pick, but Gold Coast, they have a lot of medium-sized midfielders, so think Anderson, Rao, Miller. They don't really have that big-bodied contested bull. So I've got Rao is contested, but Smiley has that flexibility to go forward and play forward as well. So I think a midfielder like that, and just best available as well, I think that suits Gold Coast quite well. Then we have St Kilda, so they obviously have the band 1 pick for Josh Battle, and they've got Jagger Smith and Sam Layla to top up their midfield. Could see Draper go here as well, but at the moment sticking with these 2. Draper to Adelaide from SA, I think that makes sense. And then the Bulldogs, who've traded in, we'll have a look here. So yeah, they traded Bailey Smith for Hawthorn's first round pick. They take Harvey Langford after bidding on Lombard. So the Suns, they've diluted a bunch of these picks that they traded in when they climbed to pick 3. They also got a bunch of junk picks to use on Lombard. So yeah, Lombard and Langford. And then Richmond take Murphy Reid. So this is one of Fremantle's old picks, but Richmond get that via West Coast, I believe, after Liam Baker moved to the Eagles. So yeah, that happened. And then yeah, so Murphy Reid, I think that suits O'Sullivan and Richmond's midfield really well. Prestia, Graham, Baker, all probably will be gone over the next couple of years. So O'Sullivan and Reid to slot in. I think Reid will start his career at half back. So I think Richmond do have a need at half back as well. So I think that's a good fit. Then with the 3 picks, Fremantle have Bo Allen, local product. I think he complements their midfield really well. I think he can start at half-back as well. So can Travaglia. So both of these guys are kind of defensive midfielders. Travaglia more of an attacking leg speed type, rebounding. Allen more of a good user, contested player. Berry, small forward. I think that solves a really big need for the Dockers after Schultz left last year and scammed the Pies. So Berry, good pick here. So I think this is a very nice tree of picks for the Dockers. And then Richmond top up their key stocks with Harry Armstrong, this year's bolter. Yeah, they just don't have enough firepower. Ever since Rewalt left and Lynch has been injured, I think Armstrong is a very good fit, and he can play alongside Samson, Ryan, and Kaczynski going forward. GWS take Taj Houghton. So Houghton's obviously out for the season with an injury, but he was playing extremely well at the start of the year and could have been a top 5 pick if he stayed fit. But I've got him starting to 15 and the Giants pouncing. I don't think the Giants have any needs. I think I'll just take best available and the most talented kid, and that is Houghton here. I think a lot of Essendon fans are going to be mad about this, but I really just don't see how Essendon trade up ahead of Kako's bid at around 16. They could trade a future pick, but I feel like there's just too much of a hassle at this point. So if you think Essendon will trade up, then I mean you can look at these guys and pick someone for yourself. But I've got them just direct bidding on Kako. And I am aware of the rules, the new matching rules that clubs can match at any point in the draft, which is very silly in my mind, but it is what it is, and the Bombers take Kako here. The Eagles, so they get this pick from Freo in that suite of pick swaps. This is originally Fremantle's pick, but the Eagles get it after sliding from pick 3 up here. So they take Lindsay. I think that's a good fit. Classy ball user, inside outside. Complements Harley Reid, Elijah Hewitt, Ruben Jimby quite well as that classy ball user rather than that manic contested X Factor type of player. This is used up in the Ashcroft bid. Geelong come up next, and I think they're going to be looking to address their midfield in this year's draft, and Tom Gross is a very good contested mid, so he can also roll forward. He's been playing forward for Metro, but in club footy in the Coates League, he's a very good contested mid. So alongside Jai Clark, I think they can form a very nice partnership for the next few years, the next decade. So next we have Carlton direct bidding on Campriali. So this is a round where I think Campriali will be bid on, but yeah, again, like same with Essendon, I just didn't want to complicate things with the draft thing. So I think like either way, Carlton won't have a pick around here because of this bid, so I'm just going to straight bid it here. Same thing for Adelaide. Adelaide obviously had a pick up here, so I don't think they'll go too hard at getting an extra pick in this range before Welsh gets bid on. So but yeah, the Swans bid on Welsh here, and then the Swans take Whitlock, so key forward to partner Logan McDonald going forward and potentially replace Hayden McLean going forward. Alex Taru, so he's a bit of a bolter this year, but he's a third tall, very good in the air, can intercept very well, and a very elite vertical leap, so I think he complements Sydney's defence quite well, alongside Blakey and Tom McCartan going forward. And then the D's bolster their key depth, so Matt Whitlock as a swingman, can play either end of the ground, probably starts his career as a forward alongside Van Rooyen, but when Stephen May retires or Lever, he could go back. And then the Giants take Harrison Oliver, so a half-back. Just a half-back, not much more to say. Good user, good speed. A bit on the shorter side, but he's a very good user, was in the All-Australian side, so good player there. And then the Demons take Moraes, a very creative centre forward player. You could call him a slider. He was potentially a top 10 pick at the start of the year, but just been overtaken by some other players, so he's slid down a bit here. But I think he will complement the likes of Pickett, Petrarca, Neil Bullen really well with his creativity, and Windsor too. So I think that's a really good pick for the D's. North Melbourne finally get someone to partner Nick Larkey up forward, so Job Shanahan, a very strong goal kicker, good overhead on the lead, so just a very good full forward, and probably one of the best in this pool alongside Matt Whitlock. And then Freo take a bit of a reach, but I feel like, up here they've done really well, so I think this is a bit of a opportunity for them to go for someone who could really light up their forward line, and that's Josh Murphy. So kind of a third tall, not the tallest, but a third tall, alongside Tracy and Amos. I think he could work extremely well. Yeah, he's got good hands, and he's got a lot of X factor and knows where the goals are, so could provide the Dockers with a spark. I've seen them play Sturt, and I feel like Sturt is a solid player, but not the guy they want to take them forward, so Murphy definitely could be that guy. And then at this point, Marshall gets bid on. I feel like this is a bit late, but it is what it is. So the Giants bid on Marshall at this point. Brisbane match it. There is a point here. Brisbane don't have many picks at the end. Like you can see here, they don't really have much capital to match the bids in. So because I just feel like it's too complicated again. It's very trivial. It's just playing around with late picks, so I don't really think that's very necessary. Where was I? Okay, so yeah, and then so Giants bid on Marshall, and then they direct bid on Logan Smith. So obviously I don't think in the second round they'll bid on their own player, but this is the range I expect Smith to go in, so Giants will have to give up a suite of picks that would equate this value. So that's the thinking behind here as the ruckman to develop behind Kieran Briggs, and the Saints are up next to take a forward ruck. So I think the Saints need some key forwards and to partner King and support Marshall as well in the ruck. So yeah, I think Sims as a very athletic tall with good goal kicking nous and great hands above his head. I think that's a very good pick alongside King. The Pies take a fullback in O'Farrell. Ever since Murphy retired, they've looked very thin down back, so I think O'Farrell as a lockdown fullback could bolster their defence really well and free up Darcy Moore again. Hawthorn take Jonty Fall, so a partner for Mitch Lewis. Bulldogs bid on Lucas Campriali here. Carlton match it, obviously. These two picks are diluted by the Gold Coast bidding of Lombard, so these are not selections, they're just gone now, they're neutralised. So Carlton take Campriali, and then the Bulldogs take Lockie Jacques. So he's a half-back, can kind of play accountable as well, but from the Geelong Falcons, I think with Daniel potentially leaving, Fraser as the long-term winger, and what's my other note? Richards potentially going to the midfield when Liberatore retires. I think the Dogs will be looking for a half-back, and Jacques is a very good one at that. Then the Power take a key defender, so Noah Mraz. Good lockdown, well-balanced defender, can intercept as well. So, yeah, they've currently got Radigalia, Zerk Thatcher. Not really the best key defensive duo in the competition, especially when you're in premiership contention. And then this is obviously neutralised by Tyler Welsh. And then West Coast up next, they take Cooper Hines. This is another slider. So Hines is an X-Factor forward midfielder. So for Country, he played a bit forward and didn't really play at his best because he was being played out of position. But at club level for the Stingrays alongside Langford, they just dominate. And I feel like he could really light up the West Coast forward line if he gets the opportunity. The Bombers take Dodson. So Goldstein obviously only a 1 or 2 year recruit. There's been talk about Draper potentially moving to South Australia next year. So and then Nick Bryan obviously not really getting an opportunity and potential to leave. So I think the Bombers will look to get another developing ruck in, and Dodson is the best ruck in this year's pool, pure ruck. The Eagles match a bid by Richmond on Malachi Champion, and so you can see down here the Eagles lose their 50s picks, 3 of them, which about equates to that value of a 38. And then the Richmond Tigers, they take Archer Daywick, so another small forward, medium forward with X Factor. He was actually projected to be a top 20 pick at the start of the year, but has dropped out a little bit, kind of similar to Moraes, just because other players have improved a lot, and he has kind of just stagnated a little bit more than you would have thought. So Richmond get this guy has a lot of upside, so he's got a lot of X Factor goal scoring ability, so if the Tigers can get him on the right track, he could be a really big bargain recruit here. And he can also replace Noah Cumberland. The Tigers keep trying to play him and he just never seems to work out, so this is a good replacement for him. And then the Cats are next with Cody Anderson. So he's been injured recently and I've got him sliding down the order. He easily could have been a first round pick, but because of the injury he's slid down. And yeah, the Cats get another bargain to bolster their midfield. So now that's Tom Gross and Cody Anderson, 2 tough tackling midfielders. This guy's a bit more of a defensive, but also goal kicking. So he can kick goals, he tackles, does both really well. And then Gross is the one that wins the ball out. So yeah, very nice duo there for the midfield. And then we've got the Demons taking Lucas Tovey, so he's a fullback, good 1v1 defender, could replace Stephen May in the long term, and potentially with, which Whitlock brother is it, did they get? I think, yeah, Matt Whitlock. They could form a nice defensive duo in the future. Luca Grego, so for the Tigers, defensive mid, kind of replacing Liam Baker. He's a good, reliable role player with good ball use as well, very reliable. And then they have back-to-back picks, so the Tigers then take Charlie Nichols, who's a key forward. Very good at marking the ball above his head, contested mark, takes the ball at its highest point, so you love seeing that in a key forward. And I think we picked, Harry Armstrong. So Harry Armstrong, Charlie Nichols, and then Kaczynski and whoever else they have, I can't remember who the other one is. Oh yeah, Samson Ryan. They have a bit to work there. And then North Melbourne have Xavier Ivicic here, so he's kind of slid a little bit as well. He's a good, well-balanced and reliable midfielder, so just to boost North Melbourne's depth in the midfield a bit more behind, their midfield stars in Wardlaw, Sheasel, etc. And the Demons take a small forward in Evan Bradley. So this guy's got a lot of X factor and class, close to goal. Could free up Cozzy to play a bit more midfield. Also Petrarca too. So and also just providing his own, goal kicking now, some excitement in that forward line. And the Crows, I think this is the last pick that gets neutralised by the Welsh bid. So then they get an actual pick. So the Crows taking Joe Pike as a ruckman. So the Crows are pretty dissatisfied with their current ruck setup. So Joe Pike is an overage ruckman who could have been taken in the mid-season draft, but he wasn't. And he's going pretty well with the Falcons. So I think this is worth a punt in the 3rd round for the Crows. Then the Pies, I think this is their second pick. They take Cale Guerin, so he's a key forward ruck, very athletic with a lot of upside with his athleticism. I think with Mason Cox coming to the end and the Pies not really having too much ruck depth, this guy can play both key forward and ruck, so I think it's a good pick for them. Then the Crows take Jasper Algar, so he's a pressure forward who has an eye for goal as well. This is kind of just to replace McHenry and those types of players who are good role players, but they don't really provide anything else. So I think this guy provides a bit more upside with his ability to kick goals. The Dogs take Jesse Dotoli, so he's a mid forward, forward half player. He's got a really high footy IQ. He's able to find targets really well and get to positions. And he was getting midfield opportunities alongside the likes of Smiley, Jagger Smith, Murphy Reed, etc. So he's a very good player, and Bulldogs are lucky to get him this late. Then D's take Zach Johnson, so a midfielder to top up their midfield. He's a silky midfielder, really good ball user. He's got speed, a good size at 185 centimeters. So a bit of depth there, and with a bit of upside too. So he could develop into a good player. Then Port Adelaide take a local player in Phoenix Hargraves. So accumulating mid, big body. He's a very good player in the contest. To complement the attacking players such as Rosie, Butters, Horn Francis. Going forward, he could be that accumulator to replace Ollie Wines potentially. Then the Saints direct bid on Adrian Cole, key defender, good lockdown defender. So that one's pretty straightforward. These are all diluted picks, so no use there. Then the Cats take Hamish Davis, so he is a mature age recruit, and the Cats like taking these types of players. And this guy's a tall goal-kicking midfielder, so solves a need for the Cats. They don't really have a tall midfielder at the moment. They've got Stewart running through there, but I'm not sure if that's long-term or not. And then they've got Bruin as well, and Clark at the moment. So none of them are very tall, and none of them are goal-kicking mids. So Hamish Davis, I think, solves a need there as a mature ager, can slot straight in. This one's diluted, and then the Swans take Joel Cochran, so he's a academy player, key defender. I think Swans fans will be happy to have him in the third round. North Melbourne, Oliver Warburton, so he's a midfielder to complement the likes of Sheasel and Wardlaw again, so along with Ivicic. Warburton's more of the defensive midfielder, so I think Willem Drew from Port Adelaide, who is a defensive one, while Rosie, Butters, etc. get on the attack. This guy can free up Wardlaw to play a bit more attacking. And then the Saints take Bailey McKenzie as a Tim Membry replacement, so he's good at ground level, in the air, good goal kicking, so he's got a bit of X factor as well. So this one's just a needs base. Adelaide take local boy Cade Herbert, so an outside winger, could, if he builds up his body, could play inside as well. He was actually really highly touted last year, but kind of fell off this year. But we saw the same happen to Port Adelaide's Will Lorenz last year or the year before, and he's starting to look like he's on the rebound. So Adelaide might take the same punt on Herbert. Okay, I stuffed up another pick. So the Giants, I had them double bidding Logan Smith, but I was meant to write Delana here. So he's a tackling mid forward, pretty small, but he's a great tackler, and I think the Giants will be happy to have him at their club. So I think the Giants finish here for the draft. So they take 3 players. I think they'll take a rookie pick as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they do pick another player, but I just don't see anyone here that they want to take. I don't really see turnover at the club there, because they've already got a lot of young kids. So not really sure how hard they'll invest in this year's draft. But we've got Carlton next. So Nathaniel Salzberger, tallish mid, very powerful, and he's got a good burst. So he bursts out of stoppage. The Blues midfield is extremely good, obviously, but they don't really have that X factor burst midfielder. So this guy could be it to complement Walsh and Chera going forward, who are the more productive and good ball using midfielders. Well, Chera is a good ball user, and Walsh just the gut runner, and then Cripps the contested ball. I've got a couple of passing now, just to get out of the draft. Melbourne have already picked, I think, 4 or 5 players, so they conclude here. North Melbourne take River Stevens as a father-son, so yeah, just for their small forward depth. I think they probably will delist a couple of small forwards this year, so just to get River as depth. Carlton take Ben Hopkins as a defender, so overage defensive winger. He's a gut runner, so just a bit of depth for half-back wing kind of position. And then the Cats take Oliver Dean as a ruckman, so Conway injured and body unreliable, Stanley coming to the end. I think they'll want to invest in another ruckman. Probably, ideally, they'll get one a bit earlier, but there just isn't really many options at this point. Where's the first pick? I think they take Gross at their first pick, so I don't think they'd want to take a ruckman that early. And then down here, they would have already lost a couple. So yeah, I've got them taking Dean here. He's a good tap ruckman with forward ability, so if he does pair up with Conway going forward, he can play forward. Then the Hawks, Damon Hollow as a more productive, skillful winger. Then they take Ned McGuinness, who I think should be a direct bid here. Didn't write that in, but he's I think father-son, inside mid. Then the Eagles, they take Jack Ooh. I don't know how to say his name, but very tall, defensive, versatile winger who can play halfback as well. So yeah, it solves I think a need for the Eagles on that wing halfback position. And yeah, he can obviously intercept with that height as well. So a bit of a high upside player there. Then the Saints take Lennox Hoffman. I don't know if Hoffman will get taken in the national draft or rookie draft, but I've got him just being taken here for the sake of it. Good lockdown medium defender. I think the Saints will be happy to get him. And then the Crows take Angus Clark. So this is a bit of a slider, major slider. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets taken in the second round, but I just didn't really find any room earlier. But yeah, 188 centimeters defender, well-rounded, skillful halfback. Yeah, these types I think could go either way. Like the area they get selected in is very volatile. So yeah, I've got Clark going in the 5th round. Kai Burgoyne getting to the Hawks. I'm not sure if this is going to happen, but I genuinely just couldn't find any information on him, but I think he's still a chance to go. Quaynor to the Pies, Barrett to Power, Newen to the Bombers. Bulldogs do take Pat Reshko as a midfielder, so or a winger as well, so a bit more of an outside midfielder. I think they lost O'Driscoll. He's a bit of a different type, a bit taller and a bit more classy, but still a winger to just to add some depth to that position. And the Pies take Doug Kerr at the end. I don't know if he's going to be taken either, but yeah, we'll have to see about that. But yeah, tall winger, tall midfielder potentially could get an opportunity. So yeah, obviously these late picks, like it's a very, very tough draft to rank in this later area. It's just a lottery. Like it's so even throughout the entire draft. Actually, it's just really hard to rank. So yeah, there was a lot of switching, and so I doubled up on a couple of picks by accident. But yeah, this is generally how I think the order in which they will go in. So yeah, I've spoken about some potential sliders and bolters, but yeah, if your club has any picks in certain areas of this draft, have a look around and see which players you think they'll take. This is just my take on things. Obviously, I don't support 18 clubs, and I'm not a journalist or anything. I don't have any inside knowledge, so this is just going off what I observe around the competition. But yeah, a lot of needs-based picks I've done. I think there's going to be a lot more best available picks than I've done. So we'll see some clubs neglect their needs to take the best available. So I haven't really done that here. I've just gone on needs. So keep that in mind when you look through this. Yeah, obviously the trades. I'd be surprised if even a couple of them happen. But this is just general thought on what might happen in the trade period. Obviously, the Eagles and Dockers pick swap is the most uncertain one, but it does make sense, in my opinion, to get the Dockers earlier into the first round. It does help out the Suns as well, get higher up ahead of Lombard, and then it helps the Eagles out in terms of getting Baker, Robertson in as well, and then still staying in the draft to some extent. Louis Montgomery is a Port Adelaide, I think, father-son, so I think he's a chance to be taken as well. But I went with Benny Barrett just because from what I've seen, I think Barrett might be more likely, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Montgomery is taken ahead of him. McGuinness is a key forward. DePauli, Kubank, yeah, he's a small forward. And the rest here also a chance to be taken. These guys are part of St Kilda's NGA and father-son. Noah Howes is a key forward. I think he could be a chance to be taken. South Australian player, over age. Yeah, he's got good work rate, and he's got good forward craft, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets taken. So yeah, that's probably gonna do it for the video. Hopefully this was a pretty solid guide for all of you guys trying to study this year's draft. Yeah, obviously don't take it too literally. I haven't considered every single possible aspect, such as, you know, the Bombers getting ahead of Kako's bid, and then some other bidding anomalies, and yeah, the Brisbane lack of picks to match Ashcroft and Marshall. Yeah, a lot of like direct bidding. Like it's just supposed to be a general view. But all the open draft picks, like I feel like this order, you can kind of treat it like a power ranking. Obviously, a lot of it is needs based as well. So some of it is a bit ambiguous, but in general, I think this is a pretty good indication of the players that will be around these types of ranges. So yeah, keep that in mind when you look at this. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, share this with any of your AFL friends, footy mates. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.